What is up, all of my HIV positive friends? You ready for Spawn issue number 190? Look at that fucking cover. Look at that spiky fucker on that cover, man. I love this fucking cover. Looks amazing. Anyway, you ready for Spawn issue number 190? Let's go. Mark Rosen has been interviewing a fuck ton of people. Then he comes across this one guy who was a smoker and had lung problems because he was a smoker. And this guy in the accident was magically cured. And all the people in the accident have reports of being magically cured by something that science cannot explain. This angel bitch up on top of a church is looking for Spawn. She can sense him. Then we move on to Jim Downing and Sarah talking about his memory for the 50th time in a row. And he mentions once again that nobody visited me at all. He's like, how do you even know my name is fucking Jim Downing? And she's like, I just know. And he starts to get angry. Then he grabs her, hurting her a little bit. And he's like, I could be a murderer for God's sakes, and you wouldn't even know. And then she once again says that he's hurting her. And he's like, oh God, what am I doing? Then he's like, I have to go now. Sam and Twitch are having their typical lunch and investigation at the same time. You know how they are. Fucking G's. Anyway. So they're both discussing the case and how they think it was Spawn, but then again, it was very messy, and that's not his MO. So they think it is something supernatural, but not Spawn. Sarah, being the religious whore that she is, prays for Jim Downing to return. And then she gets a knock at her door, and this Agent fucking Smith looking dude who looks like he's from the fucking Matrix arrives, and he's like, hey, we're looking for Jim Downing. You've seen him? And she's like, what the fuck? No, I haven't seen him. And he's like, well, if you have seen him, or if you do see him, let us know, because I'm working with this doctor and shit like that. And she's like, well, he has my number, so yeah, tell him to call me if I find anything. And he's like, alright, sounds good, bitch. That is not at all what the guy says, but it kind of is. That's the gist of what he says. You know how it goes around here. Then Jim Downing goes to a coffee shop. He has a wound in his stomach from when he was shot, which doesn't really make sense, but that'll be explained later. And then this coffee lady, this waitress, I don't know why I called her a fucking coffee lady. This waitress comes up to him and she's like, damn, you look like shit. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know. And then this lady comes and she's like, you, I remember you. And he's like, who, me? You remember me? Because remember, Jim Downing thinks that no one ever knew him before because he doesn't remember anyone and no one came to visit him. Now this chick is Wanda, and she explains how Jim Downing came to her door, started complimenting her in her wedding gown, and then when her husband Terry started coming by, he fainted right in front of her. Then afterwards they patched him up and he had a deep conversation with Wanda. Now, the cool shit about this is, if you guys remember, this is in issue 3 where Spawn was actually transformed into Jim Downing because he was trying to turn back to his original self, but instead he turned into, well, Jim Downing. Fucking nostalgic as hell. Check out issue number 3. I have it in the Spawn playlist below. Jim Downing feels like he's going insane because now people do know him and he's just confused about everything. But Wanda soothes his feelings and makes him calm. Jim Downing then goes to the alleyways and this homeless dude comes out. He's like, Al, is that you? And then Jim Downing's confused. Then he's like, oh, sorry, you lost? And then he's like, no, Wanda sent me here. And the homeless dude's like, follow me. Then he shows him Spawn's Throne of Decay and he's like, damn, this place always freaked me out. I'm gonna bounce. And then Jim Downing turns into Spawn and sits on the Throne of Decay. Look at that motherfucker. Damn, Jim Downing looks cool as Spawn. Then the angel bitch comes beside him and says it's good to see another one of God's elite. And that, my friends, wraps up Spawn issue number 190. Like the video if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, don't be a pussy. Like the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.